Technology. Almost all of us use it in one way or another, whether we want to or not. In today's information age, it's pretty much unavoidable. Technology connects us, it entertains us, and provides us with conveniences in ways that simply were not possible in past eras in history. But technology does require a certain level of know-how. And let's face it, for some of us, our know-how is something other than technology. How do we get familiar with all of the acronyms, terms, the new this or that, and tech talk that's constantly changing? This is when technology can be frustrating, annoying, and hard to make sense of. And that's especially true when it comes to buying it. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just have technology explained to you in plain English? Welcome to Technology in Plain English. In this video, we are going to show you how to buy your next TV. This isn't going to be your typical buying guide in that it is not instructional. Also, we won't be reviewing TVs here because this isn't a review channel. Instead, we are going to focus on making sure you are in the know. Being in the know means being familiar with all of the TV terminology you'll see in ads and on the box the TV comes in, as well as knowing the options available to you and what you can expect to pay for them. Once you are in the know, then you can decide how you like to spend your money on your next technology purchase. And really, those are the only two instructions you need to worry about. Another benefit to being in the know is your ability to identify value. For example, let's say you come across an ad or a salesperson that says, "Hey, see this? This is a good deal." Well, how do you know that? How do you as the consumer know that you're actually getting more for your money? Being in the know, that's how. We're going to focus on smart TVs because they dominate the market. The majority of TVs sold these days are smart TVs. Generally speaking, a smart TV is a TV that can connect to the internet and stream content. The images that a smart TV displays are made up of pixels, or very, very small dots. A pixel is similar to a penny in that it is the smallest denomination of an image that there is. Just like that penny is the smallest denomination of pocket change that there is. The amount of pixels displayed on a given screen is known as resolution. The more pixels a TV is capable of displaying, the higher the level of detail you will see in the images it is capable of producing. In other words, more pixels give you higher resolution. High-resolution televisions are known as high-definition TVs or HD TVs. There are a few levels of high definition on the market these days, and we'll list them from lowest to highest. The first is 720p or standard HD. That's 1280 pixels arranged horizontally multiplied by 720 pixels arranged vertically. That's where the 720p comes from. The next level up is 1080p or full HD. That's 1920 pixels arranged horizontally multiplied by 1080 pixels arranged vertically. Like 720p, 1080p gets its name from the pixels arranged vertically. And next up from there is 4K or Ultra HD. 4K is 3840 pixels arranged horizontally multiplied by 2160 pixels arranged vertically. 4K breaks from the others in terms of where it gets its name. The 4K comes from the almost 4,000 pixels arranged horizontally. 720p and 1080p TVs are slowly fading from the market. Plus, you can now get a 4K TV starting from a few $100s. So, unless you're buying a smaller screen TV, say somewhere around 32 inches, which is where you'll find most of your 720p and 1080p TVs, your next TV will most likely be a 4K television. Then there's 4K content. These are the movies, TV shows, video games, and anything else produced in 4K that your new 4K TV can support. You can also play stuff you like to watch that was produced in 720p and 1080p on your 4K television. This is where upscaling comes in. If content that is of a lower HD resolution than what the TV is capable of supporting is being shown on the TV, then the TV will upscale the image so that it looks as though it is of a higher HD resolution. For example, if a movie that was made using standard HD or 720p is being played on a 4K TV, the TV will upscale the 720p movie so that it looks as close as possible to a movie that was made using Ultra HD or 4K. The TV's processor or brains handle the upscaling, which directly affects how natural the image appears. Some TVs upscale better than others. Generally speaking, the better the TV, the better the processor, and the better the processor, the better the upscaling. There's also 8K, which is basically 4K doubled. But at the time this video was made, there's not much 8K content out there. However, 4K content played on an 8K TV will upscale to 8K. It's not real 8K, the TV's processor or brain, as we said before, is making it look like it is. So right now an 8K TV is for those who don't mind paying more to future-proof their next TV purchase. But let's say you're playing 8K content on your 4K TV. Now you're playing content that is of a higher resolution than your TV can handle. What happens then? Well, nothing. Your 4K television will display that 8K image at 4K because that's the highest resolution it's capable of. So the resolution of what you like to watch is something you should keep in mind when shopping for your next TV. There's a technology that enhances high resolution images and it's called HDR, or high dynamic range. HDR enhances an image's contrast or range of colors to make images appear more natural, more real. For instance, take a look at the image on the left and the image on the right. The image on the left is a standard dynamic range image, or basically any image that is not HDR. The image on the right is an HDR image. The image on the right is that much more detailed and real looking. It's closer to what you'd see if you were standing in the place the image was taken. And that's the whole point of HDR. There are a few types of HDR on the market these days. We're going to take a look at 3 examples with traction in the marketplace at the moment: HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and Dolby Vision HDR. HDR10 is what you'll find in a lot of TVs that have HDR. That's because it has no licensing fees. Manufacturers can include it without having to pay anything extra. Very often you'll find that different brands will add their own enhancements to HDR10 to make it their own, so to speak. Some are better than others, independent of price, so this is something you'll need to judge for yourself. HDR10 Plus, on the other hand, is a Samsung technology that is not free to use. You'll find it on Samsung TVs, of course, as well as others that are more upmarket. The difference in how these two work is HDR10 instructs your TV to set a level of brightness for what you are watching. That level of brightness stays the same the whole time you're watching it. HDR10 Plus is a little more sophisticated. It instructs your TV to set a level of brightness for each scene you are watching. Therefore, the brightness does not stay the same the whole time you are watching a movie, for example. It is constantly changing. Your darker scenes like dungeons and caves will have one brightness level, and your scenes with bright fields full of airy flowers will have a totally different brightness level. This produces a more vivid and realistic image. HDR10 Plus is made to go up against Dolby Vision HDR, which is a competing technology with a very similar function in that it constantly adjusts brightness frame by frame for more lifelike images. HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and Dolby Vision can only be found on televisions that are 4K and above. TVs also contain a number of audio technologies, starting with DTS, or Digital Theater Systems, and Dolby Digital. These are your surround sound technologies. Surround sound consists of speakers in front of you, on the left and right, in the center, speakers to the side of you in some cases, and speakers in the rear, plus at least one subwoofer. You see it there to the left of the display. Some TVs come with integrated surround sound systems. Some of them even bounce sounds off of the walls in your room to make it appear as though you have speakers around you. Two of the most sophisticated audio technologies for surround sound systems these days are DTS:X and Dolby Atmos. These technologies are known as immersive audio technologies, in that they provide a higher level of audio detail than DTS and Dolby Digital. Immersive audio is like HDR, but for sound. What if you have a sound bar or surround sound speakers that you like to play sound through instead of the speakers on your TV? That's where audio return channel, or ARC, and enhanced audio return channel, or EARC, come in. ARC and EARC allow you to connect sound bars or surround sound speakers directly to your television without the need for any additional devices like a surround sound receiver, for instance. ARC, or audio return channel, will support surround sound only, but EARC, or enhanced audio return channel, is the only one of these two that will support immersive audio formats like Dolby Atmos and DTS:X. So far, we've gone over HDR and immersive audio formats. So when would you come across any of these? Well, most likely from content providers like cable, Netflix, Amazon, or Hulu, or even video games, for example. Let's take Netflix. They offer movies and TV shows that are available in HDR10, Dolby Vision, and Dolby Atmos. The reason we see both HDR10 and Dolby Vision being offered is so that you can watch the content in Dolby Vision if your TV supports it. And if your TV doesn't support Dolby Vision, the content will default to being shown in HDR10. Remember, HDR10 is going to be on most, if not all, TVs that support high dynamic range because it's free to license. Manufacturers aren't paying anything to include it. Because it's not free and involves licensing fees, Dolby Vision HDR is a feature that appears on TVs that are a little more upmarket. The manufacturer is passing the cost of those licensing fees on to you, the consumer. Now that we've gone over most common audio and video technologies TVs are being sold with these days, let's talk about the standard that allows them to communicate with other devices, which is high definition multimedia interface. Believe it or not, HDMI started out as a mistake, but as we mentioned, it is now the standard by which audio and video devices connect to each other, and that includes gaming consoles. HDMI is the only connection that supports HDR10, HDR10+, Dolby Vision HDR, Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, ARC, and EARC. Did we mention HDMI was the standard? HDMI might be the standard, but it is not the only way your devices can talk to each other. There's also optical, which is an audio connection only. Optical connections use fiber optic cable and laser light to transmit audio signals between devices. For the most part, HDMI has replaced optical, but you'll probably wind up using this type of connection on components that are a little older or maybe don't have HDMI ports. One thing to keep in mind is that optical does not support immersive audio formats like Dolby Atmos and DTS:X. Next up is Consumer Electronics Control, or CEC. Consumer Electronics Control is a low-level way of using your smart TV to control other devices. For instance, if you had a Blu-ray player, you could use CEC to tell that Blu-ray player to turn on every time you switched your TV to Blu-ray. This way, you were using one remote, your TV remote, to control more than one device. Here's a tip. If you want to control multiple devices, get yourself a universal remote. Why? Because CEC is not always guaranteed to work. Each manufacturer puts their own spin on CEC, and one manufacturer's spin may not work well with another's. So if your TV is one brand and your Blu-ray player is another, CEC may or may not work the way you want it to. You are way less likely to have this problem with a universal remote control. You've most likely heard of Bluetooth. It's a way of connecting devices together wirelessly so long as they are within range of each other. In order for devices to connect wirelessly, they typically need to be on the same network, and that's your home network. Not so with Bluetooth. A guest could come over, for example, connect their phone to your TV over Bluetooth and share pictures, video, and music on your TV without ever connecting to your home network. That same guest could connect their phone to your TV and do the exact same thing using USB or Universal Serial Bus. You can think of USB as kind of the wired version of Bluetooth. Just like Bluetooth, devices connected using USB do not need to be part of your home network in order to connect to your TV. Wi-Fi allows you to wirelessly connect your smart TV to your router. This is how the majority of smart TVs are connected in homes these days, which allows them to connect to the internet. A local area network, or LAN for short, is the wired version of a Wi-Fi connection. This connection allows you to connect your television to your home network using a wire. Internet of Things, or IoT devices as they're called, are, as the term implies, things that are connected to the internet, and your smart TV is one of those things. A big selling point with IoT devices is home automation, where you can control devices in your home with your voice, for instance. Some smart TVs have built-in voice control through platforms like Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa, and Bixby, which is more or less Samsung's version of Alexa. TVs that do not include voice control features may be compatible with separate, independent devices that can receive voice commands and pass them on to your TV, like some of Amazon and Google voice control products, for example. Smart TVs also have streaming media players like Roku, Amazon Fire, Google Chromecast built in, so that you do not need to go out and buy separate devices in order to stream content. Talking about displays, there are 4 types of televisions on the market today. First up is light emitting diode, or LED televisions. Next, we have nanocell light emitting diode, or nanocell LED TVs, quantum dot light emitting diode, or QLED televisions, and last but not least, organic light emitting diode televisions, or OLED TVs. The word organic is used here because of the use of carbon. Starting with LED TVs, these televisions have a panel in the back of them that shines light, which illuminates the pixels on the screen to create an image. LED TVs are the cheapest to manufacture, therefore these tend to be the cheapest TVs on the market. LED TVs could be considered entry-level televisions. Nanocell LED TVs are a level above LED TVs and a level below OLED TVs. These TVs are edge-lit, meaning the light shown in the images on the screen comes from the edges or the perimeter of the screen. The reason they're called nanocell TVs is because they use a filter that is 1 nanometer thick, about half the thickness of a human hair. This filter is used to filter out imperfections, which is aimed at producing a better quality image. Nanocell LED TVs are on the market to compete directly with QLED TVs. QLED TVs also use a backlit panel just like a standard LED TV. However, they too use a filter, a quantum dot filter to be specific. The quantum dot filter's purpose is the opposite of the nanocell filters in that it's there to enhance color output in order to produce a better image. OLED TVs, on the other hand, do not use a back or edge-lit panel to light up the screen. Instead, the light comes directly from the pixels themselves. OLED TVs and QLED TVs currently sit at the top of the market. LG is the primary manufacturer of OLED and nanocell LED TVs, while Samsung is the primary manufacturer of QLED TVs. So really, once you move up beyond LED TVs, the smart TV market is just a competition between 2 manufacturers. But wait, you say, how can that be? I see all sorts of brands out there. Sony, Vizio, Panasonic, Sharp, you name it. Well, What happens is LG, for instance, supplies what are called white label TVs to other brands. A white label device is like a blank sheet of paper. Whoever buys it can modify, enhance, or otherwise change it any way they want. That's where the differences come in the way different TV brands display images. It's up to you to pick which one you think is best for your money. How about some pros and cons of each TV type? As we said before, LED TVs are entry level. So if you're not looking to spend much money, we're talking the 3-figure range here. And an LED can be a great choice. Don't think just because we're entry level that we're entry performance, so to speak. Due to their brightness, LED TVs tend to do well in well-lit rooms. But due to their thickness, because of that backlit panel, they're not always as sleek as the thinner TVs out there. These TVs also tend to come with less features than TVs that are more upmarket. For instance, an LED TV might have HDR10, but not Dolby Vision HDR. It might have Wi-Fi, but not Bluetooth. These TVs are also prone to less image accuracy than others upmarket, as well as motion blur, which is blurring when objects are moving fast on the screen. Nanocell LED TVs have gained a reputation for being able to punch above their weight class, so to speak. But you're going to have to pay a little bit more for that. These TVs tend to start out in the low 4-figure range and go from there. Nanocell LED TVs have good viewing angles, meaning anyone sitting off to the side of the TV can see the same quality picture as someone sitting in front of it. They also perform well in high light. And they tend to be on the thinner side, which provides for decent aesthetics. However, these TVs do tend to lag behind the upmarket competition in overall picture quality and features. Then we have QLED and OLED TVs, which provide the best picture quality available on the market today. And with OLED and QLED televisions, you get what you pay for. These are 4-figure TVs with prices that typically start with a 2 at the time of this video, and they go up from there. OLED TVs tend to be the thinnest TVs on the market. Remember, the light comes from each pixel on the screen, not from lights mounted in the back or on the edges. QLED TVs tend to do better in brighter rooms than OLEDs do, but OLEDs tend to have better viewing angles. In the end, there's really no bad choice here as long as you're happy with what you buy. And hopefully, this video has been useful in helping you make that decision. By the way, we've also included a link to a room size calculator in the video description. You can use it to determine what size TV to buy based on your room size and where you'll be sitting. Thanks for watching, and join us on the next video where we will explain technology in plain English. If you like this video, click the like button and let us know. If you'd like to subscribe to this channel, click the subscribe button. Also click the notification bell, set it to active so you'll be notified when new videos become available.